I thought I was completely alone, just me, my music, and a hairbrush microphone. But then the door creaked open. My dad walked in at the worst possible moment, and what happened next became the most embarrassing yet unforgettable moment of my entire life. It started like any other afternoon. I was 16, home alone for a few hours. My parents had gone out shopping, and I had the house to myself, a rare kind of freedom every teenager loves. I was blasting music, dancing around my room, just enjoying the peace. And for once, I could just be me. Now, here's where it gets bad. I'd recently developed a bit of a crush on someone from school. You know, that early teenage obsession when you can't stop thinking about them, replaying little conversations in your head, imagining what you should have said instead of what you actually said. That was me. Completely lost in daydreams. So, in that moment of complete freedom, I decided to record myself singing along to a love song for practice, or at least that's what I told myself. In truth, I was pretending it was for them. It was innocent, just something silly and private, but I was really into it, full performance mode. I had my hairbrush as a microphone, my best dramatic expressions, and my voice cracking on every high note. Halfway through the song, I started improvising a bit, saying their name, adding flirty little comments like I was confessing my love in a music video. It was completely ridiculous, but in my head, it felt like my Grammy moment. Then, it happened. The door creaked open behind me. I froze mid-line, hairbrush in hand, mouth still open from the last lyric. I turned around slowly, and there he was. My dad. He just stood there, holding a grocery bag, staring at me with the most confused look on his face. It felt like time stopped. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might faint. You okay, champ?" he said, trying so hard not to laugh. I didn't respond. I just wanted to vanish. Every fiber of my being screamed to disappear into thin air. My brain completely shut down, no words, no thoughts, just pure panic. He took a step forward, clearly trying to hold it together, and asked, "So who were you singing to?" That was it. I dropped the hairbrush, screamed something like, "Get out!" and threw a pillow at him. He burst out laughing, not the gentle kind either. Full, uncontrollable laughter. He backed out of the room, still cracking up, mumbling, all right. Carry on, superstar." I slammed the door, turned the lock, and just stood there, mortified. I could feel the heat on my face, that deep, burning embarrassment you can't escape. I sat on my bed, staring at the floor, replaying the moment in my head. I'd never felt so exposed in my entire life. For the rest of the day, I refused to come out of my room. I didn't even eat dinner. I could hear my parents chatting downstairs, and every time I heard my dad laugh, I was sure he was laughing about me. The next morning, I came down for breakfast, acting like nothing had happened. My dad looked at me, trying to be casual, but the second our eyes met, I saw that little smirk on his face. "So," he said, "do I get an encore today?" I groaned, grabbed my toast, and ran out the door. I could still hear him laughing behind me. Over the next week, I tried to erase the memory from existence. But he didn't let it die so easily. Every now and then, he'd hum that same love song around the house, or say things like, "Don't forget your microphone, rock star." It was torture. But as embarrassing as it was, something funny happened over time. The more he teased me, the less humiliating it felt. Eventually, I started laughing about it too. He wasn't mocking me, he was just being dad. The kind of dad who finds humor in the little things, who knows when to laugh instead of scold. A few months later, I actually showed him a real video I'd made for a school project, a serious one this time. When it ended, he looked at me and said, "See? Told you that performance practice would pay off." We both laughed. Years later, that memory still makes me cringe, but it also makes me smile. It's one of those small, silly moments that remind you how much your parents love you even when you're at your most ridiculous. Now that I'm older, I realize something else about that day. At the time, I thought it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. But looking back, it was actually one of the moments that brought me closer to my dad. It broke down that invisible wall that sometimes exists between teenagers and parents, the one built out of pride and embarrassment. He didn't judge me. He didn't make me feel stupid. He just laughed and moved on. And that, in its own way, taught me something important, that the people who really love you will see your most awkward, imperfect sides and still think you're amazing. So yeah, my dad walked in at the most embarrassing moment of my life. But now, when I think about it, I'm glad he did. Because sometimes, the moments that make you want to disappear end up becoming the stories that make you smile the most.